Hey guys, welcome to this Python course. Okay, so now what we will going to cover is about the conditional, functions in the Python. Okay, so here we will going to talk about the conditional statements and functions. Okay, like if else, okay, else if, when to use it, nested conditions, logical operators. Okay, past statement, break and continue in conditions, concept of the loop in the conditions, and much more. Okay, so make sure that you guys watch this course to learn each and everything, and we will also going to cover three projects, as you can see, project 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so this is what we will going to cover in this free course. And if you are interested to learn about conditional statements and conditional functions, okay, inside the Python, so make sure that you watch this complete free course from starting to end. Guys, we will going to cover about the conditions. Okay, so before that, in case you haven't learn about the part 1 and the part 2, so I have created a blog, so which is this one. You can just simply search for Kuku courses. Okay, let me show you how you can access to that blog. Go to this website and just go to extras over here. Okay, and click on the blogs. Once you do that, just search here learn to code Python. Click on search button and you will see this blog, learn to code Python for beginners. You will come to this blog. So here you can see we have part 1 where we have covered each and every of the basics, and then we have the part 2 where we have covered about the operators. So you can easily access to them, like this is the part 1, and for part 1 we have a complete video, okay, where we have covered each and everything from the scratch as a beginner. So this part 1 is basically the continuation of this part 3. Okay, so before you proceed further with the part 3, in case if you don't have watched the part 1, just go ahead and watch it here. Okay, and similarly at the top you will see the part 2, which is of the operator. So here just make sure that you guys just go ahead and go and watch the part 2, okay, which we have over here. Okay, you can see that we have also attached the part 2, okay, which is the operator. So before you continue with this part 3, in case if you don't know about part 1 and part 2, so just make sure that you watch both of them, the first one, and related to that below are the notes. Okay, and same for the part 2, okay, which is here, and related to this video we have all the notes here for you guys. Okay, so make sure that you first continue to watch part 1 and 2 before you continue it, and before you watch this video, and after you have make sure that you have watched the part 1 and 2, then only continue with this part 3, because this part 1 and part 2 is basically the continuation. Okay, so this is where we will going to cover the part 3, okay, of the condition, and rest everything has been covered in this part 1 and part 2. Okay, now guys, you will going to see that we have added the part 3 as well, so we will going to discuss all of that, okay, for now. But before that, I just want to say you that why we use these conditions. Okay, what is the requirement? So before we just proceed further, okay, it's important to know that why we use the conditions. Now let's say if I just go here to the condition folder, and let's open maybe the main.py file over here, and let's first discuss about why we do the condition. So suppose guys, these conditions basically help us to control the flow of the code. Okay, so wait, let me just see here. Okay, so what it does is that it basically helps us to control the flow. So suppose if I go to my site, maybe let's say tools, let me just go to the notepad. Okay, so let's say if we have some sort of a code. Okay, now we want to control how the code will going to run, how code will run, right? So that is where we use the conditions. Okay, now I will show you with the live example. Suppose if you just go ahead to maybe let's say YouTube, Now let's say YouTube has some condition. Let's say if I just go ahead and let's say if I go to maybe let's say Gemini VEO3, which is I guess the latest model they have. Now let's say if I go ahead and let's say if I open any video, let's say, okay, now see if I try to comment, so it will say that you need to sign in. So whenever you create any program, okay, so you can basically have control that whatever program which I will going to run, okay, or which I'm creating, that should follow some sort of control or conditions, okay, to run. So YouTube has also created the code for the YouTube. Now they are saying that okay, you can comment here, you can watch the video, but for comment you need to sign in. So this is where YouTube is trying to control the flow of their program, okay. So this is just an example, and this is where you can use the conditions, okay. So conditions helps you to control how your code will going to run, and that is what it is, the concept of conditions, okay. Now let's talk with the basic example. Let's say for example, let's say if I just go ahead and show you with the problem. So let's say problems.py, okay. So let's say here I have a file, and let's say I want to calculate the let's say area of a circle, okay. Now let's say I know that the pi value is approx let's say 3.147, okay. And now if you know that the radius formula, okay, is equals to I just want to ask the users, okay, as an input about the radius, okay. So float, and in the input I will going to ask input, let's say enter radius, like this, okay. Awesome. Now you all know that if I just create a variable, let's say area of circle equals to, you all know that it's pi multiply by radius square, okay. So I will just go here, radius you can put to the power 2, okay, power 2 like this, but you can also do like this into radius again, okay. So this is the formula, and I just want to print that area of circle, okay. So here I will just going to put this in the curly brackets, but to make it active you have to put f string like this. Now let's say if I try to run the application, now see what will going to happen. If I click on the run button, it will ask me to enter the radius. Now let's say the radius I put let's say 10, okay. So once I click on enter button, it will calculate the area of radius, which is this one. So currently there is no problem, but problem arises let's say when let's say like in YouTube, okay, it has put the condition that anyone can comment, but if anyone is not log in or sign in, so they cannot comment. So this is the reason I have not signed in. At the top you can see, so because of that reason I can see the sign in option. Awesome. So in our application you can see that we have completely created the program, but we have not put any condition. So whatever value we will going to put, it will going to execute from top to bottom without any problem. But problem will going to arise when, let's say if I run the program, and let's say instead of radius let's say instead of 10 I write 10 like this. Now this is the problem, okay. If I click on enter, it will show me the error. So there is no such way uh, I basically add some condition that if you put let's say text, so I want to do this way, okay, because if you put the number it will going to run, okay, without any problem. But problem arises is that when someone will going to write the radius in the form of a text, so this is where your program will going to create the problem. Still it will going to run, but after that it will show you the error, okay, value error. because we have not put the value here. Instead of that we have put the text. So this is where the problem will arise. So if this particular, if any user, let's say if any user, instead of writing 10 in a number, if he puts 10 as a text, so what you want to do in your program? So this is where you need to control. Like you can see YouTube is not allowing me to put the comment. So until unless I will not going to put the until unless I will not sign in, I will not be able to comment. So same you can put in the conditions in this particular program, that until unless any user put the radius in the form of a number, the program will not run. So that is what the things you guys can do, and that is all possible with the conditions. So conditions helps you to control how your code will going to run. It is somehow that simple. Okay, now there are different types of conditions which we guys can cover. Like you can see we have here the if, else, if. Okay, in action. Okay, you can use the operators. Okay, you can also use the logical operations in conditions, nested conditions, written statements. So this is something we can cover in the functions. Okay, but still I have written in the notes. Then you have a break and continue conditions, else with loop. So there are plenty of things which we will going to cover. Okay, so these are basically the different types of conditions. Okay, so if you just go here and click to learn to code. Okay, so in future you will going to see, of course, one video will be attached here, which you are watching, that is the part 3. But this is where we have provided you all the nodes, and you can understand the meaning of of what is the conditions. Okay, and this is what I have said here. Okay, so we will going to start with lesson 1. Okay, uh, introduction to conditional statement. Okay, so think of the conditional statements like making decisions in real life. For example, if I study, I will pass, like that. Okay, so like in YouTube, if you will going to sign in, you can comment. If you will not sign in, you will not be able to comment. Okay, so that is something like this. Okay, so you have here the nodes as well. Okay, so it's by the way, when we just talk about this particular uh, condition, so it has a very simple syntax. Okay, you just need to write and start with if, then you have to put whatever condition you want, and then after that what you want to do will be the statement. Okay, now this is what it is. Okay, so this is one part of one particular conditions. Okay, so we will go with the real life examples of it, but this is how something it works. Okay, it's very simple. Like here you can see we have put one example. Let's say if any user marks is equals to 80, and if the marks is greater than 75, then you will be passed. Okay, so let's say if you clear this up, if you run this program, so here you can see you pass. So it is saying that if marks will be greater than 17.5, okay, so you will be passed. So suppose if I write here, if someone got, let's say, 40 marks, so still he will be considered as a pass, right? So this is how easy it is. So here you can see if condition. So here you can see I added if, and I added the condition here, mark should be greater than 35. Okay, and then I pass the statement that if this particular condition is true, then you have to do this. Okay, so this is where I said if this condition is true, then you have to pass this particular thing. So this is one condition. And if you will going to notice, when I have written this condition, okay, so I have here in the statement this amount of gap. Okay, so we says that this particular statement belongs to this particular condition because this particular statement is inside this condition, and this is where you can see here we have a gap. So this shows that this particular statement is belongs inside this particular condition 1. Okay, like this, and so on. So this is how something it works. Very simple, nothing complicated over here. We will going to cover about if else and all those stuff. Let's go with, let's say, one more example. Let's say if I go here to age, and let's say if I input something. Okay, so I will going to put the input. Okay, and I will ask the users to write their age. Sorry, enter, sorry, input, then brackets, and your age, like this. Okay, and after I do this, so I just make sure that whatever the number should be in the integer. Okay, awesome. Now I after so this is just an input. Now I just need to start to add the condition. So I will start the condition like this: if condition, or sorry, if, and then whatever condition you want to put. So I am saying that if the age which you user will going to put as an input, if that age is, let's say, greater than 18. Okay, then I will going to write the statement, and this statement will, and make sure that you put the colon, and the statement belongs to this particular condition of if age is greater than 18, then what will be the condition. So you will just going to write print you can vote, like this. Awesome, right? So if you just clear it up, now it will going to ask you, let's say if you run the program, okay, so it will ask that, okay, what is your age. So let's say if I add 30, I will click on enter, so you can see it will say you can vote. Okay, okay, so this is something very cool. So you just edit one statement here. Okay, if conditions, and here you just have added one condition that age should be greater than 18, and related to this condition you have passed the statement, and this statement has this gap here which says that this particular statement belongs to this first condition. Okay, now this condition is for the true, if the statement is true. But let's say if the statement goes false, okay, like of course if you are in, if you are already signed in, so that is the true condition, you can comment. But there could be situation like this right now, that I am not signed in, and because of that I am not able to comment, right? So here also, if age is greater than 18, so everything is good, the program will run, it will end like this, you can vote. But let's say if I write here and if I run the program again, let's say this time I will going to put the number which is, let's say, less than 18, so let's say 10. Now you all know that, okay, we have set the condition age should be greater than 18, but right now I'm putting the 10 which is of course less than 18. Now what? So you can see program will not going to do anything. Okay, so this is where we have to control the program, and we also need to add the conditions. Okay, so first condition is this one which we have set. Now we will going to talk more about it, but this is how something, you know, your uh, condition works. Okay, very simple, nothing complicated over here. Okay, so now guys, we will just now go ahead over here. Okay, and we will going to cover a lot of other topics. So the very first, as you have discussed over here, okay, we have here if condition. So this is what we have taught. Now let's cover about if else and else if. Now what is that? Okay, so let's discuss about it. So for example, let's say if I go with the if, else if, and else dot py. So let's cover, let's take, let's say, the same case here. Okay, now we have, guys, something known as else. Okay, so this else will always be at the end. Okay, else will always be at the end, colon, and then you will just going to give the statement. So see, this if condition is provided when something is a true. Okay, now else we usually use when all the above statements are, let's say, false. So in that case we use true. It basically means if that above all conditions are false, then it will above all the conditions, okay, are, let's say, false, then it will trigger. Now in this example which you have seen right now here, let's say if you run the program and I have told that if age is greater than 18, so in that particular situation this will be say you can vote. That is the true condition. Like here we have here, if anyone is signing in the YouTube, so they can comment, so that is something true condition. But the situation can be opposite, the user cannot sign in, okay. Now when I'm trying to comment, it is showing me this notification that no, you first need to sign in, right? So this is the situation can come to your program as well. Right now in this case, if the age is greater than 18, so no problem, your program will run. But what if it will be opposite? That means, let's say if someone age is less than 18, so in that case what will going to happen? So in that case we use else. And if you've seen the nodes as well, so basically else we use when the particular condition is false. So if is used when for one condition, okay, uh, and if that condition is true, then everything is perfect. But if it's false, okay, so then we use else. So for example, let's say I can write here, now else will be here, okay, like in the format you can see else in the line of the if, else, then statement. You can see I put here else, then colon, then here you have to write statement. Then I will say print uh, your age should be greater than 18 to vote, like this. Now let's run the program again. If I run the program, it will ask me for the age. Now let's say if I put 70, click on enter, you can vote. Now let's say if I run the program again, and this time let's say I will put the age less than 18. Let's say I put 10, click on enter. Now it is saying that your age should be greater than 18 to vote, because age is 10, which is lowest than 18. So it is not following the above condition. So in that condition, the program is saying that your age should be greater than 18, buddy, then only you can vote. So this is where the else will going to help you. So when all your it will basically help when the condition this condition gets false, so then this else will going to trigger. And this is the reason it has triggered here, because here the age is 10 and the condition says that age should be greater than 18, then only they can vote. So 10 is obviously less than 18, so this condition is not met, and because of that this condition become false. And the false, and because the condition become false, so that's the reason it has triggered else, okay. So this is something very cool, okay. Now we have one more thing which is known as else if. So if you will going to notice here, we have discussed about if, else. Now what is the concept of else if? Okay, what is the concept of else if? So for else if, let's discuss about it, okay. So wait, let me just take this one and let me just go with else if .py new file. I will paste this much over here. Now guys, else if will always be in the between. So else if we generally use if we have more conditions, okay. So let's say this if will only going to help you for one condition, but let's say if you have multiple conditions, so you will always use else if, okay. So else if will always be here in the between, okay, else if, okay. And after your else if, it will say what is the condition, and on the basis of this it will just going to trigger the statement, okay, like this. And you can add as many as else if you want. Now let's take with an example. Okay, now let's say age should be greater than 18. Now let's say I want to add one more condition, and I want to say that if else if, okay, else if anyone age, because see, age should be greater than 18, but someone can put maybe let's say minus 10. Of course he will be ghost or something, but let's take with an example. If someone put let's say less than 0 or 0, so anyway any person age cannot be 0. Whenever he is born we say that he is 1 year old, okay, like that. So from 0 it can never start. So I can see here else if age is let's say less than or equals to 0, then, because I have said that after putting if, we put else if and condition and the statement related to it. So you can see else if I put the condition again here, and what will be the statement. So let's say here, let's say the statement I want to say that print, let's say invalid age. So this is what I want to do. Now let's say if I clear it up, now if I run the application, now let's say if I put my age let's say 0, it will say invalid age because anyone age cannot be 0. Let's say if I put and run let's say minus 36, again it will show invalid age. Reason, because I have mentioned that if anyone age is less than or equals to 0, you have to print invalid age. But if anyone age is greater than 18, you have to print you can vote. Now the situation is that if this both condition, let's say instead of getting true, if they get false, so then we use else. Okay, so I will just copy the else condition from here, simply copy, and I will paste it here. So if all these above conditions let's say don't get true, so in that case it will trigger the else, that is the false, your age should be greater than 18 to vote. Now let's run it. Let's run the application. For example, if I say let's say 80, it will say you can vote. And let's say if I put maybe let's say 12, it will say your age should be greater than 18 to vote, which is perfect. And let's say if anyone tries to let's say go with minus 70, something like this, it will show invalid age. Okay, so this is how, my dear friends, the things work over here. Okay, and this is how your if, else if and else condition work. So if basically is the first condition and then you pass the statement. Okay, and if you want to add one more condition, then you use else if. Okay, then let's say if this both condition don't get true, that means they go false. So if the false will be, so it will trigger the else, and it will just going to print this. Okay, so this is something very cool. Okay, so hope you guys have for now understood the concept behind it. Now it's not only limited to let's say only one. Okay, you can also add let's say one more else if. For example, you can add as many as else if. For example, if I say else if, let's say if I say that if age is let's say greater than, and let's say equals to let's say 101, okay, then you just need to print let's say greater than 101, like this. So you can add as many as condition you want to, but let's leave this and let's go with the real practical example for this. Let's just go with maybe project1.py. okay, let me just close all of them. Awesome. Now let's say I want to ask the users, okay, with the number 1, and I want to ask the user about some numbers. Okay, so I will ask for the input like let's say enter your number 1, like this. Now I want it to be, let's say, integer, or you can even convert that into a float. That is what we have discussed, remember? Awesome. And let's say number 2, I want the same thing. Just copy here, wait, copy and paste it over here, and this time I will ask for number 2. Very simple. Now I will going to give the choice to the users to input. Okay, this will be also an input. Okay, so I will ask the users to enter your choice, whether you want to do plus, okay, or let's say minus, or let's say multiply, right? So whatever you want to do, you just have to write that over here. So I'm basically creating 3 choice or 3 numbers. Basically I am asking the users about the number 1, so they can type whatever the number 1 they want to do, like 2, 3, number 2, and so on. Let me show you how it works. If I run the application, it will ask for the number 1. Let's say user say 3, and for the number 2 user say 4, and now what he choose, let's say he can choose, let's say, plus, like that. So this is how this program will work. Now whatever we have learned till now, we will going to use that. Okay, for example, let's say, okay, so for example, let's say I can say if choice, this choice, okay, if this choice is equals to let's say plus, if someone choose plus, okay, so I add one condition, which is the if, and I told you that if someone choose, let's say if, so it wait, over here, so if you will see if, then condition, then statement. So I have written this if, then I add condition, that if this value, whatever, let's say choice, if someone, let's say, put plus, okay, so if someone puts plus, so I want that to print let's say like this, okay, uh, addition, okay, and here I want to do, let's say, num1 plus num2, and to make it dynamic, put f, like this. Awesome. Okay, very simple. I did very simple, if, condition, and statement. Now I'm going with else if, condition, and statement. Okay, so let's say how this will going to work. Let's see that. Okay, so let's say if I say here, let's say else if, let's say choice is equals to let's say minus, again what will be the statement, let's say print, okay, it will say, let's say, subtract, okay, colon, let's say num1, let's say minus num2, like that. To make it dynamic, as I have mentioned, you have to put f here, like this. Okay, and let's say I can put one more thing. Wait, let me just copy, paste it, sorry, uh, paste it here. Let's say this time I want, let's say, multiply, and this time I want to do multiplication, and here I will just going to write multiply. Now see what will going to happen here. If, let's say, I have given the choice, you have to put plus, minus, or multiply. So if someone put plus, so Python will going to run this particular command. Okay, if someone chooses plus, they will just going to add the number 1 and 2, and Python will going to give the answer. Same if it chooses minus, and if it chooses multiply, it will multiply. But there could be situation when some user cannot put any one of this. Maybe they can put division, and divide is not in the option. So in that case, this could be the situation when this all above condition can go false. Okay, user can put something else. So in that case, we can put else, and this time I will say print, let's say invalid choice, like this. Awesome. Let's run the application. So let's say the first number is, let's say 5. Sorry, not here. Okay, here. So the first number is 5. Second number is 2. Now it is asking me what you want to do. Let's say I put plus. So it will do 5 plus 2, that is the 7. Awesome. Let's run the application again. Again, it will ask for the first number. Let's say I put let's say 2. Let's say this time I go with 2, and let's say I want to do multiply. So I will put the multiply sign. Now 2 to the 4. So you can see it has given us the 4 as the answer, right? Now let's try to put some invalid choice. So for example, if someone put 5, let's say if someone put 3, now let's say it's asking me the choice. So let's say for now I put divide, click on enter. So it will say invalid choice, because divide is not in our program. Okay, as a choice we are not asking that. So this is how it works. So Python will always going to see that what user has put. So it will first check the top condition. If it doesn't satisfy, it will move to the second condition. If second condition doesn't met, so it will move to the third. If let's say third condition is true, so it will give you the result. But let's say still if the third condition is also not true, then it will go to the very last, that is the else. Okay, so that's how the concept of is, if else, and else if works. So like we have created this project one. Okay, so you can see that in our notes also you will going to get the same thing. Like let's say marks is one variable which is 70, and we have set the condition 1. If marks is greater than equals to 90, so the statement, okay, print A grade. Okay, if anyone who will going to get marks that is greater than and equals to 90, so he should get A grade. And let's add the second condition. Else if marks is, let's say, greater than equals to 60, so in that case we will going to put it as a B grade. Now if these both conditions, let's say, becomes false, okay, so it will pass and trigger else, and it will say print fail. So let's say even if you just copy this particular case, okay, let's remove it, paste this one over here. Okay, wait, let me just remove this one. Okay, so very simple. If you just clear it up, run the application, you can see B grade, because 70 comes between 60. Okay, greater than equals to, if he gets greater than equals to 60, he will be get B grade. Now if you will going to see with 70, so for the 70 the first condition should be greater than equals to 90, but he is not coming in there. So if he is greater than equals to 60, okay, so between 60 to, let's say, 89, he will be considered as a B grade. So even if you, let's say, run the application again, and let's say if you say like marks, let's say 89, let's run it, still you will see B grade. But now let's say if he gets 90, now you will going to see he will consider as a grade, because we have mentioned that if he gets greater than equals to 90, then A grade. If both the condition doesn't met, he will be false. So suppose if someone puts the marks, let's say 40, run the application, it will say fail, because 40 doesn't lie in this both condition. Because for the first condition it should be greater than 90, of course 40 is less than 90, and for the second condition also it should be greater than 60, which is of course less than which is of course greater than 40. Okay, so 40 is basically less than 60 and 90, so ultimately the both the conditions are not getting satisfied, and because of that it will uh, become false, and it will trigger else condition, and it will print fail. Okay, so this is something we have. And by the way, if you want more such type of uh, questions, okay, so as we have recommended earlier as well, you can just go to Kuku courses, just go to kukucourses.com, and if you will go to our library, click on the library here. So here you will going to see we have a library resource. Okay, you can see developer kit. We have tons of you can see here 200 plus Python projects, okay, and plenty of other resource. So if you want to, you can get it. You will not only going to get developer kit, you will going to get video editing kit, creative prompts. So these are all inside our library for $23. Once you pay to just a one time, so you can access to all these resources, and you can just practice Python. Okay, whatever we are teaching, you can just learn more about it inside this library. Okay, so make sure that you explore it, unlock it just with the one-time payment if you want to. Okay, just explore, come to our site and explore this. You are really going to enjoy it. Okay, now let's talk about nested conditions. Now guys, nested is something uh, the condition where you want to add, let's say, more conditions. Nested.py. So this generally we use it to add one condition inside another. Okay, now let's say here we have this condition. We have said that age equals to 20, and if that student has ID or not. Okay, true. And we are saying that we are putting condition that if age is greater than equals to 18, okay, so you have to print eligible. Okay, this is something very easy. So basically what we are doing over here is that you have understood this now, but we are saying one more condition here, is that if this if the student has ID as well, then only he will be eligible. That means both the conditions should be satisfied. Okay, then only he will be eligible. Okay, else you can say it here, else print not eligible, like this. Clear this up. So let's say the age of the person is 20, and let's say he has ID true. So we are saying that if the age is greater than 18 and he if he has ID, then only print eligible, otherwise not eligible. So if you run it, you will say it will say eligible. Now let's say this time I make it false. Let's run the application. You can see it will just going to print nothing, right? So basically the both the conditions should be true, then only it will going to work, right? So this is something you have, that is the nested one, not that much important. Okay, to be frankly speaking, but this is something you should know, that nested basically add one more condition inside one condition. But just don't get confused, it is not that much to understand over here. Okay, now let's move to the logical operators in conditions. Now you all have learned about and, or, not, okay, in your previous one, if you will going to remember here. Okay, so if you will going to remember that we have learned about these concepts. Okay, so if you will see, I guess we have taught you over here, not in the operators I guess, but in the data types, but we have taught you about this concept. Okay, wait, let me just scroll it down in the article. Yes, here, logical, and where we want that whatever the conditions are, whether condition 1, 2, 3, if all the conditions will be true, then only the result will be true. And so these topics we have taught you. Okay, so make sure that you watch the part 2. So I guess in the part 2 we have discussed about it. Now these same logical operators we will basically going to use, okay, over here you can see in the conditions. So let's say you can use it like this. So if you copy this and let's say if you go here and let's say paste it, now you can see here we have said that age should be equals to 22 and has passed. Okay, so he has passed, so that is true. So here what we are doing is that we are saying that okay, if age is greater than 18 and I'm also, so this is one condition, because see if you will see here we have said that you have to put the condition. Okay, now the thing is that you can put the condition here as well and here as well, but you can also use here like this. Let's say condition, you can add, okay, another condition over here. Okay, you can even use or, you can even use not, right? So you can use the logical operators while doing the conditions. Okay, so here you can see this is what exactly we are trying to do. Here we have added the condition. If wait, let me just show you. Okay, so here we are saying that if this condition and if this both condition, and this time I want and. Why? Because I want the both the conditions should be true. Okay, so if my condition one, which is age should be greater than 18, and another condition if he get pass, if both are, let's say, true, so you have to print aloud, else print not allowed. Run the application and you can see it's allowed. Let's say if we say age, let's say we decrease to 2, and if run it, now you can see it's not allowed, because we have said that if we add and, so here the both the conditions should be true, then only it will be considered as a true, and Python will going to print this. If any of the above condition, whether let's say condition 1 or let's say the condition 2, if any one of get false, so it will pass to the else or trigger the else, and it will pass not allowed, like currently it pass not allowed. Reason age equals to 2, which is of course less than 18, but the condition should be greater than 18, but 2 is less than 18, so the reason it showed not allowed. But of course if you use or, so or says that even if condition 1 or let's say condition 2, if either one of the condition get true, it will print this, otherwise it will print this one. Let's run the same thing. Now it will say allowed because we have used or, and if you know, remember in the or logical operator, whatever conditions you have, if any one conditions get true, so it will be considered as a true at the end. And these are the things we have covered in the in the your logical operators. Okay, over here, right? So here we have taught you if you use or, so either let's say if both the condition is true, so it will be true. If any of the one condition gets false, so still it will be true. So when we use or, so here if both, or let's say 1 2 3 whatever conditions are, if all get false, then only it will be false. So suppose if I put here, let's say false. Okay, now see what will going to happen. Now it will say not allowed. Why? Because here condition 1 and condition 2 both are getting false. Okay, because age is also less than 18 and has passed is also false, so ultimately it has put it as a false. So this is something we have here. Okay, which you guys have hope understood. Okay, which is about our logical operators in the conditions. Okay, which you can also use. And by the way, if you just go to ChatGPT you can learn more about it. Hey, like you can say, hey, teach me about, let's say, logical operators in, let's say, Python for condition. Okay, so it will just going to teach you more about it, and you can even practice it. Okay, so the same thing it will going to teach you which we have taught you. Okay, so you can even take the chat GPT help if you want to get more explanation and all, but this is something you can do. Okay, in the conditions is that you can use logical operators as well while defining the conditions. Now guys, see, if you go to YouTube, if you again refresh, now every time you open the application, the conditions will going to work. So what I mean to say is that, let's say if you have created this project, now every time you will play the project, it will work. Again, user will type the number here like this, and then it will just going to do this, and it will going to work. Again, you will manually go and run the application. So how we can avoid this manual tasks? Okay, so to avoid the manual tasks, and let's say you want some sort of a automation. Okay, or I can say the more better word will be the repeat. Okay, if you want the program to repeat again and again, so this is where the concept of loops comes in. So when we talk about loops, so loops are basically of two types. Okay, one is the for loop, and second one is the while loop. But let's discuss about the while loop first, and the second one is the for loop. So these are the two loops. Okay, we have. Now let me just teach you when we use both of them. Okay, now when we talk about when to use, let's say, while loop. So when we talk about, let's say, when to use while loop, so guys, it will only going to work when there will be some conditions. Okay, so you all know now how to put conditions, the basic conditions. Okay, so this while loop will always going to work on the basis of condition. But when we talk about, let's say, for loop, it will going to work on the basis of, let's say, list and range. Now you all know what are the list. We have taught you with variety of examples in the basics. Okay, what are the different types of list and all. Okay, where we have covered about a lot of list. Okay, which we have. So this is where the, if you know about list in more detail, we have just discussed about the list. Okay, so whenever you want to do any repeat tasks, so at that time we use loops, the concept of loops. There are two types. One is while loop, and another one is for loop. While loop will be applied on conditions, and for loop will going to apply on the list and the range. Very simple. Let's come it over here, and wait, let me just go and let's discuss about while loop. Okay, now when to use while loop. So let's say while loop will always going to work on the basis of condition. So it has a very simple syntax, while. Okay, and then you have to write condition colon, and then you have to say whatever code you want to execute. Okay, so it's very simple syntax. Now let's say if I say here, let's say something like this, let's say I equals to, let's say, 1. Okay, now let's say I say that if while, okay, while, and then I want to add the condition, while the condition, let's say I will say if I value is, let's say, greater than, okay, or I can say, let's say, if I value is less than or equals to 5, then I want to print, let's say, I, like this. Now guys, what will going to happen now, what will going to happen? So see here, if you will see here, I value is 1, and now when you run the Python, so I is less than and equals to 5, because I value is 1, which is of course less than 5. It will print 1 here. Again Python will go here, again it will say I value is again 1, it will again print 1. If you clear it up, and if you even run the application, and by the way, it will continue run, but to stop it you have to just press Ctrl and C on your terminal. Let's run it. You can see 1 is continuously running. Just press Ctrl and C to stop it, like this. So you can see throughout the time, you can see I'm just scrolling up in the terminal, you can see it continuously writing 1 1 1 1 1 1 1, right? Let me just clear it up. So this is how it will work. Now for this, what we can do is that I can write here, let's say, after it print 1, I want it to add I plus equals to 1. That means I want that when it goes 1, okay, then it will print 1, and after printing 1 I want it to add by 1. So 1 plus 1, 2. Now I value will become 2. Now 2 will be still less than 3, so it will print 2, and then 2 value will become I, so 2 plus 1 again 3, then 3 will go up. Now let me just, I can say, let me make it in detail for you guys. So when in the first round, what will going to happen? I value is equals to 1, okay, and it's still I is of course less than, okay, and equals to, okay, so here the condition will be true and it will print I, okay. Now in the second round, in the second round, what will going to happen? Because as we have told you that after I will be print, I want that I plus 1 to happen, then I value will become 2. So in the second round, okay, I value will become 2, which is again less than 5. Again the condition will true, and it will going to print 2 here, because this is what I have said, I value will become 2. Again it will go to down, then I value is 2, so plus 1. So what will going to happen? I will again going to get plus 1, okay. Now I value was at the top is 2, so 2 plus 1, it will become 3, like this, okay. Same thing will going to happen in the third round. Suppose if someone go here, in the third round, what will going to happen? In third round, I will become 3. Now again I is less than 5, again it will true, so I value is become 3. Again it will go down to 3 plus 1, okay, so again 3 plus 1, it will become 4, right? So again in 4 round, and this will going to happen continuously, and then there will be, let's say, fifth round, okay, where I value will become 5, okay, and now still if you will going to notice, I value is 5, but still we have a condition that I should be less than or equals to 5. So still I is equals to 5, again condition will become true, so 5 plus 1, it will become 6. Now in somewhere in the sixth condition. In the sixth condition, I value will become 6. Now this is the condition where the condition will go false, because 6, now I value is 6, which is of course greater than 5, but the conditions say I should be less than equals to 5. So in this particular round it will become false, okay, and this is where the program will going to end. So what you need to know is that while loop will going to work, wait, right, let me just write it here at the top. While it will continue to execute until unless the conditions are true. Once it will if the condition goes false, so what will going to happen, the program will automatically going to end here. So if you just try to run it here, let's say if I run it, you can see it will print 1 2 3 4 5, and as I have told till 5 it will be true. But after 5 what will going to happen, 5 will going to add by 1, so 5 plus 1 it will become 6, and this is where it will become false and the program will end. So this is what it is known as while loop. Okay, so you can of course practice it up. Okay, we have this over here. Okay, so hope you guys have understood the while loop. So while loop, it will work till condition is true, and if condition is false it will stop. Okay, very simple, right? This is known as while loop. Now let's talk about, let's say, for loop. Okay, so I will just going to put for loop dot py. Okay, so let's discuss about the for loop. Again, very simple syntax it has. Okay, so what basically happen is that for variable in particular list, it could be any type of a list, or let's say range, because I have told you that when we talk about for loop it works on the list or range. So here we write some variable can be any variable. In it will go to the list or range, and it will going to execute the code on that basis. Now what does that mean actually? See, for example, let's say if I write here a, and let's say I put some value inside it, okay, in the form of a list. So it works on the list. We will going to cover the range concept after some time, but let's now focus in the list. So we have a list here. Let's say I create a list 1 2 3 4 5. Now guys, for loop will only going to work till the list, okay, whatever we have in the list. Now here when we execute for loop, so for this you just write like this, for, and then it is asking for variable. Now variable you can put it whatever you want, I, K, J, Kunal, okay, anything. Okay, so for, let's say I put I, so I is my variable, okay, which I have newly created. So for I in a colon, okay, I want to print I. Now what does this mean? See here, if I try to teach you the concept, so what will going to happen, this I will going to go to each element of your list. So right now we have a equals to 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so a has variables which is the list, and inside this list we have various number. So this particular I variable which we have created just now, okay, which we have just created now, which is the I, you can put it whatever you want. So this I will go to the list A, okay, and it will going to access all the elements in the list A. So first in the first round. Okay, let's say in the first round, what will going to happen? I will be equals to, let's say, 1. In the first round, this I will first go to 1 and it will going to print 1. Then in the second round, wait, in the second round, what will going to happen? This I, after going with 1, it will now going to target to 2. So I will now in the second round going to target to 2. Okay, and in third round it will target to 3, and so on. So basically the variable which you have created, this variable you can name it whatever you want. So this particular variable will go inside your list and it will going to target each element one by one. First it will target this element, then it will going to target to the next element of it, then so on. So we are saying that this I to print, okay, we are saying the print I. Okay, so what will going to happen? This I will first go to 1, okay, and it will print 1. Then this I will go to 2, it will then print 2. Then this I will go to 3, it will print 3. Now let me just clear it up. Let's run the application. You can say 1 2 3 4 5, and let's say if I add maybe here, let's say 6 7, or even if you put A B C, okay, wait, let me put A comma, let's say comma B. Now it will also going to do that. Okay, wait, let me show you. Clear, sorry, clear. Let's run it. Now you can see it has printed 1 and it has also printed your A and B. So this is how it works. So basically for loop basically works on the list and the range. We will going to cover about range after some time, but this is how it will work on the list. So let's go with another example. Okay, for example, let me show you. For example, let's say I create a variable, let's say fruits, and inside this I put my favorite fruits I love. Let's say I love to eat apple, I love to eat, let's say, banana, I love to eat, let's say, cherry, okay, and so on. Now let's say again same concept, for variable. Okay, so I will write for, put whatever variable you want. Let's say love. Okay, for love in, let's say, fruits. I want variable this love variable to go inside my fruits list. You can see this fruit list, and I want it to print love. Now see what will going to happen. If you run it, you can see it will print apple, banana, and cherry. Why? Because I created one variable, because in the syntax you can see variable. So I created the variable love. Now this love variable will go inside my fruit list. You can see fruit list, and inside this fruit list whatever elements are, let's say apple, banana, and cherry. So first in the first round it will go to apple. You can see for love in fruits, it will first, the love will jump to the apple, then it will print, okay, apple, because in the first round what will going to happen, love will equals to be apple, so apple will print. Then this variable love will go to the second variable, so now love will become equals to banana, so it will print the love, which is now banana, so you can see banana. Then in the third stage the love will go again to the fruit list and it will target to cherry. Now love will become equals to cherry and it will print love, which is the cherry, and so on. So this is something how your for loop works. Okay, and as I have said, if you want to do practice, so you can just go ahead and look to our library. Okay, but this is how something, it works. Okay, so hope you guys have somehow got the good understanding about what basically your while loop is. and for loop is. So for the case of the conditions which we are learning right now, so of course while loop is most important because it works on the conditions, but of course we also have to understand about the loop. Okay, uh, okay, so this is the reason I have taught you this concept. Okay, okay, so now as you have learned about loop, so we have told you that okay, the loop will also going to work on the range. Now as I'm covering this topic, so let's include this as well. Okay, over here, so let's just go with the range dot py. Now guys, see, like in our previous case, let's say I want to go and let's say I create a list of numbers. Okay, and let's say I create, let's say list 1 2 3 4, but let's say I want to do it till 1000. So I cannot write that, right? Correct? I cannot write till 1000 manually. It will take too much time. So this is the reason we use range. Okay, so range basically help us to define from which number to which number you want to write. Okay, for example, let's say uh, if you know for let's say if I do till this 4, so you all know that how we write this for. Let's say I create, let's say a variable, let's say num in numbers, and I want to go inside this list, print num, like this, and this is how it will work. If I clear this up, if I run the application, you can see 1 2 3 4. So I created a variable as we have discussed in the loop. You create a variable in the syntax for variable. So this time I create the variable num in number. So this in the first round, this num will be equals to 1, and it will print num, that is the 1. Then this same num will go to the list, and this time it will go to the 2. Okay, and now num will become equals to 2, and it will print 2, and so on. But now let's talk about the range. Now guys, when we talk about range, so range basically has this syntax range. Then you just mention about the start number and the stop number and the step number. That's it. Okay, now start number, from where you want to start. Okay, let's say I want to start from 1, and let's say stop, let's say I want to stop in, let's say 4. And step is the sequence. Okay, for example, let's say if I write 1, so how the numbers will be. So let's say numbers will going to start from 1. Okay, so it will going to start from 1, and it will stop till 4, like 2 3. Okay, and 4. But we have some twist in the stop, I will teach you. But here you can see we have one gap, 1 2 3 4. So that is the step. Now if you put here 2, so what will going to happen? After 1 it will skip 2, it will write 3. Okay, and so on. Okay, now let's say here if I write the stop till 10. Okay, and I want this start to be 2. Now I want the step to be, let's say 1. Now you can see start, it will start from 2, and it will stop till 10, and the gap, that is the step, will be 1. So 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, and 10. And here you can see step, that is gap is 1 1. Okay, like 2 3 4 5 6. But if you put here, let's say 2, so what will going to happen? It will say like this, equals to, it will start from 2, then okay, 2, then there will be gap in the 3, then it will put 4, then 5 gap, then 6, then 7 gap, 8, and then 10, like this, right? If you put here, let's say 3, so what will going to happen? It will skip 2 numbers, like 2 3 4, then 5 6 7. It will skip, then it will put 8. Okay, again it will skip two numbers, that is 9 10, and then it will put 11 and so on. So step is like a gap. Okay, so now let's say this is how it works. So even sometimes what happens is that even if you don't put the step here, so default value of the step is 1. So here let's say if I have, let's say, some numbers. Okay, so for example, let's say if I write like this, uh, let's say a equals to, let's say, range, then the start number, because as I've told you, start number is, let's say, let me write here 1, comma, what will be the stop number when it will stop, it will be 10, then comma, that is the step, let's say it's 1. Now let's say if I, let's say, print here a. Okay, now see what will going to happen. Run it, it will say like 1 to 10. Okay, now let's say if you want it in the list, so you can just write like this, list, open and close the brackets. Now it will going to provide you in the list. Let me first clear it up. Let's run the application. You can see 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Now you will going to notice we have written 10, so it should stop in the 10, but it will stop at 9. Now why? Now see guys, always remember that whatever stop value you will going to put, so it will always be -1. Okay, so if you put 10, so it will always going to stop at 9. Let's say if you put here, let's say 11, so 11 minus 1 is 10. So if you see here, let's say if I put here 11 like this, now you will going to notice, run the application, you can see now it has run till 10, because whatever the value you will going to put in the stop, so just minus it by 1. Okay, so that is the value it will going to print. Okay, so whatever actually value you want, so always increase it by 1, then it will going to print rest. Okay, like that. Okay, so this is something we have the list over here. Okay, now that's how something list works. So now you can see, let's say if I want to put till 100. Okay, now if you run it, you can see it will print till 100, but as I have told you, if it puts 100, so 100 minus 1 will be 99. So because of that, you can say it printed till 99. So this is how something, your this for loop also works in the range. Okay, because you can see we are working in the range. Sometimes it is not possible manually for us to write till 100,000, so in such case we use the range. Okay, so this is something you have here, but let's say even if you don't put here one step, because it is by default 1, so still it will going to print till 100, till 99. Okay, so generally you will see many of the developers don't write the step. If you manually want to skip till 2, for example, if I want to skip it 2, so you will see it will going to print in one gap, like 1, then it will leave 2 3, then 4 it will going to skip, then 5 6 it will going to skip, then 7, and so on. So manually if you want to write it, you can, but in case if you don't write it, so it will take it as a 1 as a default value. So this is how your loop works on the list and the range. But as we have told you that while loop is the most important thing for the conditions, but it is also important that when we discuss while loop, so it is also important to discuss about for loop as well. Okay, now guys, let's discuss about this pass statement, break and continue. So it's something very easy. So basically break help you to exit some loop. So for example, let's say if I just go over here, and let's say if I create break.py file. Okay, now let's say I create, let's say, for num, okay, in range. Okay, now let's say I take the range from 1 to 10, and the step is, let's say, 1. So what I have done over here is very simple. Okay, so I created a number, okay, the variable. Okay, so you are all have learned about it. Okay, so what that is, wait, so we will always going to create the variable. Okay, and that variable will go in the list or the range. So currently if you will going to see here, we have created the same I'm using. Okay, for I'm using the same statement, and variable I have chosen it as a number. Okay, so randomly you can put whatever you want. Okay, so I have chosen num. So for, then variable in this particular range, then colon, then whatever code you want to execute. So let's say after this I want to execute the code, is that if num, okay, equals to 5, then I want to break it, right? Now see what will going to happen, my dear friends. After you have done this, you can just print, let's say num. Now here I have added one more, condition. So it's like a nested. Okay, so this part which you're seeing here is a nested, because by default it should be till the print, okay, for num in range. And if you try to run it, you can see it will going to print from 1 to 9. But here I'm creating some sort of a nested. So I taught you that what is the nested. You just put one particular uh, you know I can say conditions within it. Okay, so in this case you can say inside this particular one I am putting this particular thing, if num, okay, is equals to 5. That means this number will first go to 1 to 10. Okay, and I have taught you that when we talk about 10, so it will be always 10 minus 1. So that's the reason it has shown here 9. And the step, even if you don't write the step and if you again run it, so it will be like this. Okay, so it will, what it will going to do is that let me show you. Suppose if you don't write it like this and if you run it, you can see it will put till 1 to 9, because 10 by default the step will be taken as 1. Okay, but right now I added this thing, that is the if number is equals to 5. Okay, so this number will first go to the 1, because the range is from 1 to 10. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 and 9, and 10 is not included as I have taught you. So this number will go to 1, and then it will print num, so 1 will come. Then this num will be equals to 2, and it will print num, which is 2 now, so it will print 2. Then again the program will go here to num, it will now going to the third number, which is the 3, it will print 3, and so on. But what I want is that if the num, after the num will, let's say, go to the 5 number, okay, when num will be equals to 5, okay, or num value will be equals to 5, so at that time I want the program to break. Now after I have written this, you can see after it will going to write 1 2 3 4. So after that it will going to break, because num when equals to 5 I want it to break. So whenever you want to break your program, so in such case we use the break. Okay, very simple and very easy concept. Okay, now we also have one thing which is continue. So it skips the current step. Okay, so let's say instead of break here, let's say I want to write continue like this. Now what will going to happen in the continue? So continue will going to skip that particular step. So I'm saying that you want when the number will equals to, let's say, 5, so just skip this. Okay, so now if you will just run the application, so now it will going to run everything 1 2 3 4, but you will going to notice 5 is got skipped. So this is where the continue helps you. It basically helps you to skip the current step. And we have pass. Okay, pass statement. So pass basically do nothing, it helps you in writing the code, and when you want to fill it later you can do that. Okay, so in that case we use pass. Okay, so you just write like this, pass will going to do nothing. Okay, you just write like this. So let's say you're programming and in future you're got some sort of a confused that I have some doubts with the 5 number. So you just write like this, if num is equals to 5, just pass it. Okay, so it will going to do nothing. You can see if you will run the program, it will going to run normally like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So after you have written this program, and let's say in future if you think that okay 5 I need to skip, okay, so you can just put continue here. So pass basically helps you to do or edit the particular thing, okay, in the future. Okay, so you can see this is what we have written. Pass basically do nothing. It basically helps when writing code, you will feel it later. Okay, so this is where we use, and that is what the concept about break, continue, and pass. Now guys, let's go ahead and take some projects. So let me just go with the project2.py for this condition statements. Okay, now let's say I want to display all the even number. Okay, so how I can do that? So for example, let's say I want to define, okay, let's say I want to go ahead and let's say I want to define a range. Okay, now this range I want to define is from 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10. Okay, so you all know that how we can do that. So I can just write like this: range start will be, it will should start from 1 and till 10 I want. So if I write here 10, so it will give me till 9. So I will going to write here 11, and 1 will be by default the step, so I don't need to write that. So once I go with the range, let's say 1 to 11, it will give me this range. Now let's say I want to know that what out of this range, what are the even number. Okay, so I want it to categorize even or even and odd number for me. Okay, so how I can do that? So guys, you guys have learned about the concept of modulus. So here whatever we divide, let's say I divide 2 by 7, so 3 2 is a 6 1. So this shows this 7 number is a odd number. Why? Because it is giving us the modulus 1. Okay, so guys, always remember whenever the modulus will be 1, so that will going to show that the number uh, which is being divided is odd number. Like here in this 5 case, here if you divide the 5 by 2, so 2 to the 4, again you got 1. So this denotes that 5 number is a odd number. But let's say when you go ahead, okay, um, um, if you go with the numbers like 4, here what is happening? So you can see when we divide the 4 with 2 to the 4 minus, you will see 0. So in the modulus you are getting 0. So whenever any digit which you divide it by 2 and the modulus you will going to get as a 0, so that means that the number which you are being divided by 2, let's say in this example 4, is considered to be an even number. So always understand that whatever number you divide it by 2, if the remainder, okay, here, or I can say modulus gets 0, that means that particular number is a even number. So let's say I want that type of a thing. So for that guys, it's very simple to do that thing in Python. Okay, so what we do is that we write like this. Okay, we put modulus sign here, that is sort of the percentage, and we write here 2, and we say that if the modulus of 2 is 0, so this particular thing will going to give you the even number. Okay, this will going to give you the even number. It will tell you that whatever value you divide it by 2 and the remainder gets 0, so that is the even number. So this is where it will help you out. So basically we want to know that between the 1 to 10, what numbers are even and what are odd number. So let's see how we can deal that with the one here. Okay, so let's say if I just go here and if I write here for, let's say I I'm getting the variable. You can create whatever you want for I. You can even add num, whatever you want. So I go with, let's say, I. For I in range, I will start the range by 1 to 11. Okay, this is what I told you. Then colon, then you have to pass the instruction. For example, I say like if, okay, I, okay, because this I will go from this I which I have created the variable. Okay, so let's say here I define the variable as I. Now this I will go to 1 first, then 2, then 3, and so on. So I'm saying that when the I will equals to 1, okay, so when so here, wait, when the I will be, let's say, equals to 1, okay, so or it could so I will basically go to all the thing because I have defined the variable as a I. So this I will go to all the numbers. Okay, so first it will go to 1, then I will become 2, then I will become 3, then I will equals to be 4, then I will be equals to 5, and so on. So this is what I will going to do. So I am saying that if I, okay, is modulus of 2 equals to 0, so I am saying that after dividing any digit, and if the remainder we get as a modulus of a 0, so that means that particular uh, uh, element is a even number. Okay, and you can say it like here, you can just put it here I, okay, or just put comma and you can just write here I, like this, that this particular number is a even number. Okay, something like this. Now if you, let's say, run the application, so you can see it is saying that even number is 2, even number is 4. So basically this I is first going to 1, and it is saying if we divide 1 by 2, so do we get 0? No. So because of that you can see I is not mentioned. But when it goes with the two numbers, so when you divide 2 by 2, so you will going to get 0 in the modulus. So that shows that two number is an even number, so it has got it over here. And of course here you can also put the sort of else as well. Okay, so else print odd comma I, like this. Now if you again run it, so it will say you that what are the even numbers. So it is saying odd is 1, even is 2, and it has stopped till 10. Okay, because we have set here 11 in the stop point. So this is how, my dear friends, the things work for you. Now related to this, let's create, let's say, one more project. Let's say project number 3.py. Okay, so wait, so now let's say I want to create the start. Okay, I want to create three variable: start, stop, okay, and let's say skip. So I want the users to define the number from where the it will start. Okay, so in this is a sort of a particular range, so where I am asking the users, okay, as I input, that what they want in the start number, what they want in the stop number. Okay, and I am also asking the users what you want to skip. Okay, so let's say if any user, let's say, type the start value as a 1 and let's say stop value as a 5, and he has chosen the skip, let's say, equals to 3, or let's say 3. Okay, so what will going to happen after you will run the program? 1, 2, 3, 4, it will run like this, because 5 minus 1 will be 4, so it will stop at 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and as user will going to set the skip as a 3, so what will going to happen, as in the total output the 3 will be skipped and you will only going to get the output like this. So this is the type of a program I want. So let's say I want to put here, let's say, input. Okay, and I want to ask the users to put the enter start number. Okay, like this. Make sure that you put that in the quotes. like this. Okay, then make sure that you also convert that into a number, because this is actually a number, otherwise it will going to treat that as a string, as we have discussed earlier. Now same I will going to write here. I will say that okay, give the stop number, and then I will also ask here enter your skip number. Okay, like this. Now this is what the we will going to ask it from the users, three elements. Now I will going to set here for I in range. Okay, and the range I want to start from 1 to 11. Okay, then colon, and here I want to add a condition if this skip value will, let's say or let me write like this, if I equals to skip. Okay, so in that case I want to continue it. So as I have told, continue basically help you to skip the things. Okay, and this is what you guys can see here. Continue will help you to skip the current step, and then I want it to print I, like this. So here what will going to happen, this I, okay, we have set here the I as a range. Okay, so I, we have set it as a variable. Okay, so I will first go to, I will first become 1, then 2, and then 3. So we are saying that when the I will become to the value of the skip, so what the user will going to put here, let's say 3. So when the I will become equals to 3, so skip that particular number and rest print I. So suppose if I run the program, so you can see I will put the start number, let's say 2, stop number, let's say 20, and it is asking the skip number. So let's put the skip number as a 4 and click on enter. So you can see it will just going to uh, print here. Okay, and it will going to skip the 4 from here. So this is what something you can see sort of a program which you can run like this. Okay.